All right, welcome into 5 Reasons to Bet here at the 5 Reasons YouTube channel, sponsored as always by our friends over at BetUS. Go to betus.com. Use that code 5, F-I-V-E. That will get you the 125% bonus. Great live betting platform. And as you're going to see today, you can bet the futures. You don't just have to bet the games or the live or anything like that, although we certainly encourage that if you'd like to. But you can also bet the futures and look ahead at win totals and different props and things like that. So it's a really good betting platform. It gives you something to watch the entire season, even when maybe, I don't know, your team is out of it. So go to betus.com, use the code 5. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick and at 5 Reasons Sports. You can follow Jim Rodriguez at his Chick Hearn shirt at J-Rod Show. He's doing his LA thing today. We're not going to talk Lakers, I'm sorry, even though the great Chick Hearn.
Down the middle, slam dunk. Shaq O'Neal. Love Chick.
Well, you know what? Not just that, but he actually was a radio partner of Pat Riley before Pat Riley was given the head coaching job at a press conference in which he didn't know that was going to happen. That Jerry West didn't seem to realize what was happening and just handed the job to Riley, and the rest is history. So let's get into some futures now instead of some history. We've got some Heat conversation here with you. Of course, I host the 5 on the Floor podcast. I've been pretty optimistic about this team, although maybe not as much as others for the regular season. I still have some concerns about their offense and also about their depth, although I do think the way the offense came together in the preseason was encouraging enough to make me think I might go over on the 48.5, but I actually think Vegas has it pegged about right, which makes me uncomfortable. You're not going over.
Yeah, only because, listen, I think it's a 2-horse race in the division. I think it's Atlanta and the Heat. And I think, if they go nose to nose, I think Atlanta's got the younger legs. They've got that experience now of a deep run in the postseason. I like Atlanta's over-under, which is 47.5. I like them to go over. And I like the Heat under 48.5. I just think that's too many numbers. I mean, you're asking 49 wins from Spo's team. Now, if anybody can do it, it is Spo and that motivation. But I don't think the regular season is as important for Miami. I think it's just getting into the tournament, getting into the playoffs. And I think 48.5 is a hair too high. And you can tell because it's minus 120 for the Heat. At under 48.5. Now, the division seems really interesting to me. The Hawks to win the division plus 125. So they're asking you to bet Atlanta to win the division, while the Heat are even money to win the Southeast. So it's interesting. Even though the Hawks have a lower ceiling, they're giving you better odds to have the Heat win the division.
Yeah, and that does make some sense. Again, I do think that the Heat. It does make some sense why you would play that, is what I'll say, because I do think the Heat's ceiling in the playoffs is higher. But I also think that they're going to be judicious about when Kyle Lowry takes a break or Jimmy Butler takes a break or PJ Tucker takes a break. And they don't really have the depth on the roster Atlanta does. I also think the other concern for the Heat when it comes to Atlanta, which is another reason why Atlanta may be a good play, is Atlanta has a lot of young pieces they could consolidate for one more star. I think if any team in the league is going to make that kind of move. If a Dame Lillard or a Bradley Beal gets really frustrated in their current location, Atlanta is the team, if I were Washington or Portland, that I would call, because they have a lot of pieces that they can move, which could raise Atlanta's ceiling further. The Heat are kind of maxed into this team, with the exception of Oladipo potentially returning and giving them something maybe in January or February.
And with all due respect, boy, the opportunity to play with Trae Young and to have him be a distributor for you. And you're right, the Heat are sort of locked in with their guys. It's their this is the squad they're rolling with. Trust me, they're a playoff team. And I think another great bet is 1-2 in the Southeast, Atlanta, Miami. That's an easy win right there.
Yeah, that's an easy win. Yeah, no, I mean, Washington, Orlando, Charlotte's interesting.
There is no respect for the NBA title, though. There is no respect for the NBA title.
Yeah, so Miami, let's get to that. Okay, so for the championship odds, the Heat are 18-1 and the Hawks are 40-1.
Right, and I think that's I'm kind of shocked that Atlanta is that much of a long shot and that Miami is that less of a long shot. Because to me, they should be almost similar. To me, they should be in the 20-25-1 range. I don't understand why the difference between Atlanta being 40-1 and Miami being 18-1. To me, there's not much separation there. Yes, Miami has more of a pedigree, but Atlanta showed that they can make a deep run. Neither are winning the title, but I find that very interesting, the difference in the odds to win the chip this year.
Yeah, don't typically see that. Again, with two teams that they have like 2 or 3 wins away from each other, to have them that different in terms of the championship odds. Although I like the Heat's odds better, but I don't, like I said, I don't know if I like them twice as much as I like or Atlanta,
Right.
which is essentially what that prop is saying. All right, we got a word for Booze Bandage. When we come back, we got kind of a fun prop here, a state related prop. We'll get to it right after this.
Slam dunk.
Click, clap, blast 'em.
That's a great, great product. I can tell you, and you should get it 20% off. Use the code 5RSN for that one. The only thing I'll never understand is that it's clear to me that they, and I don't want to typecast here, but just looking at the background, it's a country bar they're at. I do not understand. I've never understood. So watch closely the next time you see it. Why there's a DJ scratching a record there, because it feels off to me, but that's okay. Maybe they're just drunk. They don't know where they are, but at least they have their booze bandages. So that's fantastic. It looks like they stumbled into the wrong place, basically. But anyway, there we are. All right, let's get to it. Speaking of stumbling into the wrong place, that's what I'm doing here on this episode. There's a fun prop here. The state that wins the NBA title. Okay, now there's actually some reasonable competition here this time. Because of course California has an advantage; they have more teams. Although I don't know if you count the Kings. But also New York has 2 teams. They also have a vaccine mandate, which makes it a little bit problematic. And then there's Florida, where we have no vaccine mandates or no rules of any kind, and 2 teams, but only really one of them counts. And then there's Texas, and then there's other. What are you playing here?
See, for me, I would have to go with other, because there's the Milwaukee Bucks. There's Wisconsin. It's 2-1. It's 2-1 other. I don't know how you can unthrone or dethrone the Milwaukee Bucks. They are just as good. I just don't believe in the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are the prohibitive favorite. They're plus 225 to win the NBA title. Then come the Lakers at plus 350. Milwaukee 9-1, and kind of the prop that I like, the Warriors 11-1 to win the NBA championship. Now, in terms of odds, California is the favorite, plus 150 to win the NBA championship. New York's 2-1. Florida and Texas 25-1. But I like the field. I like the field because it opens up the Suns, it opens up Wisconsin, and if anybody should come out of nowhere, shoot, even if the Hawks decide to make a run, Portland, who knows? Anybody can. The Jazz can roll in there. 2-1. I'll take the field on that one.
Yeah, I think I like it too. Milwaukee, the 2 NBA finalists are not covered.
Are not in it. Yeah.
In that. Again, you can play Florida if you believe in the Magic. We'll see. All right, go to boozebandage.com. Use the code 5RSN.
Before we go, I wanted to get your take on Coach of the Year. Spo, Kerr, and Nash are 8-1. They're the favorites. You like Spo? Never any love for Spo.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think Spo is caught in between here, because I think that there is a feeling to win a Coach of the Year award, one of 2 things have to happen. You either have to run away with your conference and just be dominant, which I don't think they're going to do because of the way they're going to play this thing, or you have to come out of nowhere. Well, they're not coming out of nowhere. I mean, people think they had a good offseason. So, they're just good enough that but not great enough that I think that it makes it difficult for Spoelstra. Kerr is interesting because they are, but again, if Clay comes back healthy, is that Steve Kerr becoming a better coach? It's kind of a weird one. I think Nate McMillan could get some love if Atlanta makes a push this year, because I feel like there wasn't really the opportunity to do that last year. The other one that I would watch is I would watch Rick Carlisle in Indiana. I feel like they're going to be a lot better than people expect. His teams win in the regular season, and he's been in that place before. There is some talent on that roster. If they could get to a 5 seed and surprise people, I think that potentially it could be Rick Carlisle. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
My dark horse in this, my black sheep in this, Popovich. Pop is 50-1 to be coach of the year. I'm not saying they're going to win the championship, but I can see Pop doing a nice little run, getting the Spurs in the playoffs. Everybody falls in love. Remember, gold medal Pop, 50-1. I'll take that. And Nash, no way, Nash. His own team doesn't believe he's a good coach, let alone the league, let alone the writers. So
Kyrie Irving is coaching that team, right? Kyrie Irving is coaching that team right now. That's pretty much how that.
I'm a roll with Pop though.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. That's an interesting. I mean, I think out west it's going to be hard for Vogel to get much love. I don't see. I will say this: if the Clippers stay top 3 without Kawhi, Ty Lue could get a look. I expect, but again, it's coach of the year is an expectations game. That's all it is, and that's the way that you need to play it. All right, follow him at J Rod Show. Follow me at Ethan J Skolnick and at 5 Reasons Sports. More NBA content coming up as the season progresses. R.I.P. to Chick Hearn.